All right, namaste everybody. So let's start with the Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshini Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayane Am Tvam Anusandhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini नमो अस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल अरविंद आयत पत्र नेत्र येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमया प्रदीपः प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्र एकपानये ज्ञान मुद्राय कृष्णाय गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत् वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंस चानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानंदं कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुं भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयदत्त जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्ये ग्राहवती कृपेन वहने कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तने सोतीर्णा खलु पांडवै रन्नदी कवर्तका केशवा पाराशर्ये वत्सरोजमलं गीता अर्थगन्धोष्ठकं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधन अबोधितं लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घ्यते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्द माधवम् यं ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवे वेदै साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदै गायन्ति यं सामगा ध्यानवस्थि तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुषुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. So 16th chapter, Dev Asur Sampath Vibhag Yoga. Dev means the divine, Asur is the demonic. So in almost all religious textbooks of the world, the positive qualities, the divine qualities of goodness, righteousness are glorified. But they rarely point out exhaustively the negative tendencies of a devilish personality. But in Bhagavad Gita, we see this a great elaboration what we are supposed to stay away from also. So that's what we're going to learn today. Because in the first 3 verses, we learned the divine qualities. 26, enumeration of 26 divine qualities. Then he told us that divine qualities, they take us towards freedom, the goal of life. And demonic qualities, they take us towards the bondage. So what takes us towards bondage, we need to know in detail too. That's why we are so thankful to Lord Krishna, to Vyasji also, that they have really put an effort to tell us in detail what to stay away from also. Okay, so let's start with the verse number 6. द्वौ भूत सर्गे लोके अस्मिन् देवा आसुरः एव च देवः विस्तरशः प्रोक्तः आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु. Dvau means two. Bhut sarge, types of beings. Loke, in the world. Asmin, in this. Dev and Asur. Dev is the divine, Asur is demonic. Ev means even, Cha means and. Devah, the divine. Vistrashaha, at length. Prokta has been described. Asuram, demonic. Parth is for Arjun, another name for Arjun. Me from me, Shrinu means here. So Lord Krishna is telling Arjun that there are two types of beings in this world. So it's not just two categories of worlds, but predominantly some people have divine qualities, others have demonic qualities. That's what it really means. It's not that two distinct type of races are here. So there are two types of beings in this world, the divine and the demonic. The divine have been described at length. Hear from me, O Parth, of the demonic now. Okay, so two categories of the personalities. We all have been carrying with us these qualities, some good qualities, some not so good qualities from past lives. These qualities, they just make our character. And we are born with it. That's why he has mentioned many times, we are born. That means when we are born, we bring it with us. When we leave this body, the kind of a personality we have, it's going to go with us. Only now we can make a change. Then we'll take that with us. Okay? This kind of a detail really helps us to recognize the demonic behavior and avoid it. Avoid it. That's why we need to know this. That's why I said we are so thankful to Lord Krishna. Okay. Pravritim cha nivritim cha jana na vidu asura na shocham na api cha achara na satyam teshu vidyate. Pravritim, action. Cha means and, nivritim, inaction. Jana, people. Na means not. Vidu, no, K-N-O-W. Asura, the demonic. Na shocham, no purity. Api means also, acharaha, right conduct. Na satyam, no truth. Teshu, in them. Vidyate is. So the demonic does not know what to do and what to refrain from. But there are some actions we are not supposed to do. They are confused. So demonic nature is confused about what is right and what's wrong. So the demonic does not know what to do and what to refrain from. Neither purity, nor right conduct, nor truth is found in them. Neither purity found in them. What does it mean? Outer cleanliness is also important. Their life is all messed up to a large measure. Outside is a reflection of the inside. Okay, and the inside is also a reflection of the outside. So it can go either way. So that's why the Shoch word is used often in the religious literature. So in order to have purity, purity of the body, purity of the environment, purity of the mind, purity of the speech, that means a person has to be disciplined with education, with culture, and maintain a very systematic order around him or her. So these demonic personalities, they don't have that. And then they are incapable of deciding the actions to be pursued, and as well as those to be avoided by him, because certain actions we are not supposed to do. They really don't know that. Outward behavior is again an expression of the inner mind. If mind is confused, then outer actions, the decisions cannot be taken easily, or wrong decisions are made. He who is confused about action and inaction, who has no purity or external cleanliness, who fails in good conduct, achar, conduct with other people, this kind of a person cannot maintain truthfulness, will lie. So it is a logical conclusion that such a person must necessarily be untruthful with words. Deliberately, sometimes these people will pursue dishonesty because by temperament, this person is incapacitated to be honest. Okay? And obviously, they fail to recognize any final purpose. Na satyam teshu vidyate. Satyam means recognize the final purpose of life. Or satyam means the substratum of this whole world. Who is holding it together? They really cannot see it. They are confused about all the happenings around them. They find them very illogical. Okay? And their viewpoint of this life is very materialistic. Materialistic. And that's what's explained, how it's explained in the next verse. All these verses are connected. They're all about the demonic behavior. Asatyam apratishtam te jagat ahu anishwaram apraspar sambhutam kim anyat kam hetukam. Asatyam without truth. Apratishtam without moral basis. Te means they, jagat the world, ahu say, anishwaram without God. See, Ishwar is God. Anishwar means no God. They don't believe in God. Praspar sambhutam, brought about by mutual union. Kim means what? Anyat else. Kam hetukam with lust for its cause. So these people, demonic personalities, say the universe is without truth. We don't see God, there cannot be any God. Universe is without truth, without moral basis, without a God. And then when you ask them, how did it all come about? They say it's brought about by mutual union with lust for its cause. They say, what else? Just a mutual union means it's just like male and female. They got together and that's how the procreation happened. Okay. See, a divine person, divine personality believes totally that the truth that upholds the universe, that truth is God. That's another name for God. So when we say asatyam in their personality, that means that itself also means they do not believe in any substratum. This eternal, unchanging reality behind the ever-changing universe is called the truth, actually. Truth is something which does not change. In us also, body changes, mind changes, intellect changes, ego changes, but there is something which we call us, me. Essence does not change. That is the truth. But demonic people, they don't pay any attention to that. Okay, so that's why without a Lord, anishwar, asatyam, okay, nothing but lust. See, when you don't believe in God, then your actions also show. See, there are two ways of refraining from immoral behavior. One is that through your own willpower, I will act good, I want to be good, willpower. But another one is that you know there's a higher power, there's a system which generally is called fear of God. That God is there, God has a very just system. If I do bad, I will get bad. So if they don't even believe in any kind of a system, they keep on doing the bad actions. See, just like majority of us, when we drive, sometimes even if we want to cross the red light, We see nobody is there, we want to, but still we know that cop can catch us. Or sometimes we want to speed, we need to go somewhere in a hurry, but there is a fear, we'll get the ticket. But if you don't believe in any system, an ultimate system, then of course our actions will become very demonic. Okay, so asatyam apratishtam te jagatahu anishwaram. This is their mantra. So after describing the point of view of the pure materialist, he is really sympathizing, Lord Krishna is sympathizing with such men and their deeds in the next one. He says, Etam drishtim avashtbhaya nasht atmanaha alpabuddhya prabhavanti ugra karmana kashaya jagat ahita. Etam, this drishtim view. So this view which was mentioned in the previous verse, this view of their view of this jagat. Avashtbhaya, holding, nasht atmanaha, ruined soul. Okay, nasht atma. See, atma by itself can never be ruined, but over here this atma means the personality around that atma. Okay, alapa buddhya, small intellect. Prabhavanti, come forth. Ugra karmanaha, fierce deeds. Kashai, for destruction. Jagat, of the world. Ahita, enemies. So Lord Krishna is saying, holding this view that there's no truth, there's no basis, there's no God. This is the view. So holding this view, these ruined souls of small intellect and fierce deeds. See, look at the choice of the words over here. Come forth as the enemies of the world for its destruction. And in history, humankind has repeatedly witnessed dictators, emperors, to name a few, Hitler, Stalin, etc. They were motivated by their perverse views of the truth and brought the suffering for countless people. They truly devastated the world. One personality like that can do it if that kind of a personality is in power. And that's exactly what Lord Krishna is saying here. So this is like these examples over here in India, the examples comes and the Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, there's so many others also. Created devastation for countless people. So holding this view, so remember that view of which is mentioned in the previous verse, that world has no substratum, there is no controlling power, and the world continues to exist and procreate by itself according to the lust. That is the view. So ruined souls, again, remember, it is a personality which is ruined. Atma in these personalities also part of God. But the mirror which they are using to see this world is crooked. And mirror is what? The mind. We all see the world through the mirror of our mind. Okay, so that is the part of the personality. So they don't have a correct judgment about this world. So that's why Lord Krishna is calling them with a small intellect. Because when a person refuses to recognize the divine presence of truth, when a person does not want to see what is underlying this life, he will function as a very self-centered person. Everything about himself or herself. We call this kind of a person a selfish entity. And they strive very hard to eke out their personality to satisfy themselves only. All their actions are just me, me, and me. So that is called a materialistic personality. So Shri Krishna, in his infinite kindness over here, is sympathizing also with such people when he says they really have a very small intellect. Alpa buddhya. So from the alpa buddhi, what kind of actions? Fierce deeds. Fierce deeds. He is prompted by the selfish urges to discover the fulfillment only for himself or herself, and brings out a disaster to his era. And what are his motives in everyday life for this kind of a person? Kamam ashrite dushparam, dambh man madanvata, mohat grihitva asadgrahan pravatante ashuchi vrata. Kam is desire, ashrite abiding in, dushparam insatiable. Dambh man madanvata, full of hypocrisy, pride and arrogance. Dambh man mad. Okay, dambh is the hypocrisy, man is the pride, and mad is the arrogance. Mohat, through delusion. Grihitva, having held. Asadgrahan, evil ideas. Pravatante, they work. Ashuchi vrata, with impure resolves. So filled with the insatiable desires, full of hypocrisy, pride and arrogance, holding evil ideas through delusion, they work with the impure resolve. The impurity comes in there because selfishness is there. Because these people are attracted to the fleeting pleasure. That alpa buddhi really thinks that right now I want to have. So everything is about having and holding and sensuous pleasures. So that's why attracted to the fleeting pleasures of sense objects, their intellect becomes mean, selfish, arrogant. So they disregard the injunction of the scriptures or even the wise people. They go contrary to what is proper and truthful. They really cannot see it. They don't like to see it, then they cannot see it. So this is the gruesome ugliness of the inner nature in a true or a pure materialist. Because he is given to the desires. Desires are so many. To sustain a life only for the satisfaction of desires is unintelligent. I want to live just to fulfill my desires. That's unintelligent. Because what do desires do? They have a knack of multiplying themselves. Without us knowing, they keep on multiplying. And if we just keep on satisfying them, we're going to just keep on working hard and never feel satisfied. Because we are not thinking intelligently. So that's why he used that word dushparam, filled with insatiable desires. When a person uses his intelligence, his abilities, his knowledge, naturally he will bring endless stream of disturbances around inner heart too. So it does not stay only inside. It will affect the family, it will affect the society, and it depends what kind of a power this person has. It will further spread it to other people. So then hypocrisy, conceit, arrogance. See, desire is an expression of the ego. Desire. Okay, they're related. So when he says kam, then dambh, man, mad, they're all related. Because when a person seeks a permanent satisfaction and infinite fulfillment through the sense enjoyment, then individual is deluded. There's a high level of delusion, that is mohat, misconception of the ego vanity, negative tendencies. So this kind of a hypocrite, conceited person, arrogant person will naturally disturb and make a wrong kind of a resolve. Ashuchi vrata, with impure. See, desires, if we see our desires reducing, we got to look within. Are my desires, is there a reduction in my desires or is there a increase in my desires? This is something we have to look at, because again and again he tells us this calm is a shatru, it's an enemy, the desires. So desire cannot come to the all fulfilled. All fulfilled means a person who knows himself, who I am, there cannot be any desire. Desire can come only to one who fails to feel his own self, the infinitude. Because then a person expresses himself or herself as a limited ego, the jeev, forgetting his own divine nature. And from there it comes this unclean resolve, the ashuchi vrata. So many desires, I want to fulfill those, that is the goal of life, then I don't mind doing something which is immoral, or sometimes even illegal, unethical. That's why this is the definition of a asur, almost like a mental biography of a asur. He is giving it to us. So the ego desperately struggling to gain inner peace. They want inner peace, they want love, but they are trying to achieve it with wrong means. So they enter into the field of activity shamelessly. They are inconsiderate, even brutal, because they are drunk with passion. They are intoxicated with their own desires, and they work in this world as a maniac. Okay? So the mind just keeps on tossing from one desire to the other. And what really happened internally to this kind of a person? Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita काम उपभोग परमः एतावत इति निश्चिता. Chintam, the worries, aparimeyam, unmeasurable, pralyantam, ending with death, upashrita, refuged in. Kam upbhog parmaha, regarding gratification of lust as their highest aim. Etavat, that is all. Iti means thus, nishchita, feeling sure. Giving themselves over to immeasurable worries, ending only with the death, regarding gratification of lust as their highest aim, and feeling sure that this is all. This is all means this is all that matters. Worries and the stress, that's why we see these days, even though this was written more than 5,000 years ago, seems like it was written by a very modern author. Worries. So their desire for material attainments torment them. See, a person who cannot sleep at night, look within. Why? Why can't I sleep at night? Why can't I just say, Meditate calmly. Why isn't my body functioning the way it should properly? Got to go to the root of it. And that's what Lord Krishna is talking about. So their desires for material attainments torment them, and they undertake enormous schemes to fulfill their aspirations. And they just keep on thinking about it. And that's what the chinta is. So endless worries. It's almost like they are wedded to anxiety. They are so desperate, they drag their life to futile endeavors. And constantly there are sorrows and the sobs. And he's saying that these kind of anxiety, they really do not realize throughout their life. That's what it really means. Pralanyatam. Death will come and they're still worried about it. Because they have miserably failed to understand this, how to live. And satisfaction of lust as the highest. And this is a philosophy of the Charvaks. It's a Charvak philosophy that enjoy, eat, drink, be merry. So Lord Krishna is hinting over here that that philosophy is going to only take you towards the wrong side. See, Charvak Darshan, one of the, that's also written in Sanskrit because Sanskrit was the language spoken and written. Yavat jivat sukham jivat shrinam kritve gritam pibet bhasmi bhute se dheya se punar agmanam kutah. They say, who has seen the future? Right now, just eat and drink, enjoy life. And don't we see that these days? So that's why I said, when he talks about the Asur, that is a materialistic point of view. A person who has not understood the goal of life is not working towards the ultimate goal of life, that is a asuric behavior. And what does he mean when he say it's like a sure to them this is all? That means that endless hunt after sense gratifications. They don't mind putting so much effort. They don't mind even losing their health, losing the peace in the family, because they think this is it. They got to make the next million or the billion or the next position. That is a very tragic way of living. There's nothing wrong in having money, but there has to be a proper balance. If we use money, that's fine, but if the money is using us, that's not fine. Objects are to use, not the other way around. Because when you question these kind of a people, their answer is that life is nothing but a series of struggle. They say this is what life is, strifes and the struggle, because they don't know how is it to be peaceful, contented, because they are generally pessimistic. They really avoid thinking seriously about life. They really don't use that subtle intellect to think about life. So according to them, sorrows and worries, they constitute the fabric of life. They think it's okay because they're so used to it. They hang around with the people like that also. Life is like that. No, life is to be enjoyed. Life is to be peaceful. Life is to feel this unity with other people. Life is to see the God. everywhere. That's what life is about. But they fail to discover any harmony or rhythm underlying the superficial disturbances in life. They think this disturbance is life. So they use their energy, their power, only running after this, exhausted, wearied, disappointed. And that's what Lord Krishna is telling us in the next verse. See how much detail he is giving it to us. He's painting a picture of a person who is not on the right path. Asur does not mean that they look different. Asur doesn't mean they just have horns on their head. Asur really means anybody who has this kind of a philosophy of life. He says, Asha, Pash, Shatay Bada, Kam, Krodh, Prayana, Ihante Kam, Bhogartham, Anyayan, Arth Sanchayan. Asha, Pash, Shatay. Shat means 100. That means many. Asha means hope, Pash means ties. So by 100 ties of hope, Badha, bound. Kam, Krodh, Prayana, given to lust and anger. Krodh is anger. This kind of a person will have a very short fuse. Very easily they get angry. So Kam, Krodh, Prayana, Ihante, strive. That means strive to attain. Kam, Bhog, Artham, for sensual enjoyment. So enjoyment is only through the senses. See over here, we should always remember those two words, prayas and shreyas. Prayas is what is pleasing to my senses, not looking at the long term. Shreyas is what is beneficial for me. Kam bhog artham, for sensual enjoyment. Anyan, by unlawful means. Okay. Arth sanchayan, hoards of wealth. Bound by 100 ties of hope, given to lust and anger, they strive to obtain by unlawful means. So if they cannot do it legally, if they cannot win by the rules, they'll try to win by unlawful means. They strive to obtain by unlawful means hoards of wealth. Why? For essential enjoyment. Because for them, that is it. That is the goal. So first he says, Asha Pash Shate, because this person is, or these kind of a people, they are entangled by hundreds of desires. Mental and the intellectual energy, which is supposed to be used to move upward, elevate ourselves, they are dissipating all those energies. And that's why this kind of a person will see very restless, very impatient with the things happening around. Will lose the balance very easily because his sense of judgment is not proper. He gets irritated. See, Kam, Krodh, Prayana, irritated and constantly unhappy. Constantly. Sometimes with himself, sometimes with the environment, sometimes with the society, sometimes with the stars, and often with God. Okay. First of all, they don't believe in God, but if they think there is a God, not a good God. So wherever desire is throttled, anger is natural. Because this kind of a person is a devotee of the desires. Because whatever we keep on thinking, we are a devotee of that. If we keep on thinking about serving others, seeing God in others, we are a devotee of God. But if we are thinking about desires all the time, then we are a devotee of desires. So he pursues sense fulfillments. And there's a competition in this world. The desires, they they cannot be fulfilled. Nobody can say that all my desires are going to get fulfilled. Somebody else might come in the way. So they get angry. They become wild and very angry. No doubt they strive though. See, that's why he used the word ihante. They strive, they work very hard, they work tirelessly, diligently. But they are striving to satisfy their ever increasing urges. They are not seeking a happiness or peace as such. Theirs is the anxiety to quench a nameless thirst that they are feeling. It's a strange kind of a hunger. So they are madly striving to acquire, possess, in their desperate anxiety to indulge and enjoy. And they are losing sight of the divine principles of existence. See, that's where they are failing. There's nothing wrong in striving, but striving for what? So they are moving away from the noble dictates of their conscience. So 11:15, I think let's stop it here because there's a continuation of this thought pattern. So we'll try to finish it by next week. But if you have any questions, we can discuss it now. Anybody, Jyoti?
Nobody yet.
Nobody? Okay, all right. If you don't have a question, that means either I put you to sleep or maybe I did a good job.
Kim has a question.
Okay, otherwise I can continue.
I'll ask a question.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to ask a question, have a little discussion, that's good. Otherwise, I can continue also. Okay, Urmil.
Well, the reason no one asked the question is that we are mesmerized and it takes a while for us to get out of it.
Okay.
Speed में लिखना पड़ता है कि we cannot keep up with the speed. So इसलिए कोई पूछता नहीं है कि वो होश ही नहीं है. We are lost. Absorbed. I don't mean lost.
It could be absorbed, or it could be that we are reflecting it in our own personality somehow.
No, mesmerized. Totally
Okay.
mesmerized.
Right.
And so the demonic persons, then it looks like if I look left and right everywhere, I'm going to see demonics now.
No, it
it's
is
very
actually
hard to shell out a good,
yeah,
virtuous, divine person.
yeah. To me, I think it's a bitter but honest criticism of our own age in these verses we see.
Yeah.
But then knowing knowledge itself is good. Now we know what to avoid.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I know we will get to that. But the dissection of the demonic traits is so elaborate. It's so elaborate.
Yes, it's more elaborate than the divine qualities. That's right. That's why I said that no other religious book has done this.
Yeah,
Even
it's like,
other Indian books, the philosophy from India, this kind of elaboration for the demonic nobody has done. So we are very thankful that hey, Lord Krishna just went to this detail to tell us what to avoid. Yes, Jyoti.
Kim has a
Yes,
question.
Kim.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, it's a little complex. I'm not really sure how to phrase this, but I feel like there's something missing here. There's is it only the desire for sense gratification that's the cause of this kind of state of mind? Because sometimes I've observed people who are like this, who are not, I mean, myself in the past as well, who are not, you know, driven by desire for wealth and all these things, but there's something else that's tamasic in the personality, like it could be depression or pride, or, you know, trying to, I'm sorry, I'm just a little confused because it sounds like desire, it sounds from these verses like sensual desire is the cause of everything, but I guess my question is there a different
No,
cause?
it's only the desire. It could be a desire for the position, desire for the people, desire for wealth. Any kind of a desire is a desire. Okay, so basically he uses the word calm, and then he does use the word ego, he does use the word pride, he does use the word delusion. So it's not only the sensuality about the sense objects,
Okay.
but anything which will take you away from your ultimate goal.
I see.
Okay, so he does mention, he does, all these words are there.
Okay.
Okay, but basically it starts out with the appeasement of the senses first. That's why it's mentioned that also. But it is about the position also. It's about to be right also. Anything which will take you away from your ultimate goal. Okay, so don't get just fixated only one term. There's so much in there.
So sorry, so how does depression fit into this?
Depression is because attachment to the temporary so much. That's a depression. Okay,
Yes.
depression is a darkness. Okay, depression word is too easily used these days. To me, I think there is a layers of depression. One of these days I'm going to talk about depression in Wednesday class. Okay, but depression is also, it's a dark state of mind.
Yes.
Okay,
And it gives rise to some of these things that he's talking about.
of course, it's like a pretty, it's in the mind. Outside it could be everything right, but mind is in the darkness. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Thank
yes,
you.
Jyoti.
Sujata, you have to unmute yourself, Sujata.
I just wanted to say that, that we have a limited time on, I mean, I think what we need to remember is that we have a limited time on earth, and there are so many sensory pleasures. It's like sometimes people will say, oh, you're forbidding everything fun, and the trick is to use your judgment and discrimination to pursue the real purpose, with, I mean, otherwise there's just so many distractions, and people need to realize that the time that you have in this body this time around is limited. So decide what you want to do. Do you want to just, indulge your senses, or do you want to if you have any intellect, do you want to get out of this realm, this world of duality? Because when there's
That's why he used the word very correctly, alpa buddhi,
alpa buddhi,
the small intellect. We got to expand our intellect, and that's why we study. That's why Swadhyay is so important. We keep on expanding our intellect, and with the help of the intellect, higher intellect will be able to make the better decisions. Okay, so it's just again, it's a, we keep on progressing. Okay, anybody else? No, got it all? Okay, let me just do one more and then we'll stop. And then Manny has a beautiful bhajan for us. Half of it he played yesterday. The other half I would like him to play today. Okay, Manny? Yeah. So let me just do one more. I think that will be a good place to stop, but still he's not done with us. Okay. And we should not take it as a criticism. We should look at it. He is so compassionate that he went into the detail to save us. But ultimately, we can save ourselves only. No matter how good of a guru, what kind of avatar is here, doing we need to do. They cannot do it for us. Okay? So let's do number 13. Idam adhye maya labdham imam prapase manoratham idam asti idam api me bhavishyati punadhanam. Idam means this adhye, today, maya, by me, labdham, has been gained. Imam, this prapasya, shall obtain, manoratham, desire. Idam, this asti, is, api, also, may, to me, bhavishyati, shall be, puna, again, dhanam, wealth. And wealth could be any kind of a wealth. It doesn't have to be just the money and the dollars and the gold and the gems. Any kind of a wealth. Okay? So this today has been gained by me. This desire I shall obtain. This is mine. And this wealth shall also be mine in future. We don't need to explain much in this stanza. Average person of the world today lives exactly this way. The most successful businessman in a competitive world lives in a constant consciousness of this. What I have acquired, what I will acquire. I have beaten this person. I have gone ahead of this person. I have become bigger than this company. This is the mantra. The game of desires is an endless game. The more one possesses, the more one is tempted to strive to possess. Okay? Earlier in Bhagavad Gita, if you remember chapter 2, it was said that he who has disciplined and controlled himself to such an extent that the world of stimuli cannot in him even a ripple of reaction. You can go back to chapter 2 towards the end. He says that the Maya is out there. Maya's place is out there. We cannot get rid of the Maya, but that Maya should not enter inside. He says he alone knows what peace is, and not the desirer of the desires. He gives the example of an ocean. Ocean is deep, calm. All the waters come in there, but still the depth and the calmness is there. He says that's how a yogi's mind is. Living in this world, but internally completely peaceful because there's no eruption of the desires anymore. He alone knows what peace is. We are looking for peace. We want to be peaceful because we are peace, but we have moved away from it. He says, not the desirer of the desires. So all these verses over here, as I said earlier, Lord Krishna is painting a picture of a materialistic attitude, about the physical things about him, around him. But now we'll see next week, he'll give us the attitude towards the world of things. So he's going to just elaborate it further. Okay, so I think I'll stop it here. We'll start with verse number 14 next week. And if you have any question, we can start next week's class with the questions also. So, but as Urmil said, there is so much to think about, contemplate upon. Do that. Think about it. Don't just think that everybody else is living like this. Everybody else is doing it. I can do like that too. We want to attain the ultimate freedom. Okay. All right, Manny.
Okay.
And is this bhajan which he is going to play, it's basically saying the same thing.
हृदय हमारा पिघल न पाया जब देखा दुखियारा, हृदय हमारा पिघल न पाया जब देखा दुखियारा, किसी पंथ भूले ने हमसे पाया नहीं सहारा, किसी पंथ भूले ने हमसे पाया नहीं सहारा, सूखी है करुणा की धारा, सूखी है करुणा की धारा, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, हमने आंगन नहीं बुहारा, चंचल मन को नहीं संभारा, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान। अंतर के पट खोल देख लो, ईश्वर पास मिलेगा, अंतर के पट खोल देख लो, ईश्वर पास मिलेगा, हर प्राणी में ही परमेश्वर का आभास मिलेगा, हर प्राणी में ही परमेश्वर का आभास मिलेगा, सच्चे मन से नहीं पुकारा, सच्चे मन से नहीं पुकारा, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, हमने आंगन नहीं बुहारा, चंचल मन को नहीं संभारा, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान। निर्मल मन हो तो रघुनायक शबरी के घर आते, निर्मल मन हो तो रघुनायक शबरी के घर आते, श्याम सूर की बाह पकड़ते साग विदुर घर खाते, श्याम सूर की बाह पकड़ते साग विदुर घर खाते, इस पर हमने नहीं विचारा, इस पर हमने नहीं विचारा, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, हमने आंगन नहीं बुहारा, चंचल मन को नहीं संभारा, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान, कैसे आएंगे भगवान।
Thank you very much, Maine. Okay. Jyoti, you can unmute everybody, please. And thank you very much for coming, and have a good day. Enjoy.
Beautiful bhajan.